C Murder makes his second appearance in this series, and I believe he holds the record of most diss tracks from a rapper behind bars. The first person on his list was his very own brother, and now his next target is someone who is considered a little homie to him. For those of you that don't know, TRU is an acronym that was created by C Murder and his older brother Master P, which stands for The Real Untouchables. This dates back to the early 90s, which consisted of Master P and No Limit Records dropping various albums under the TRU umbrella. This logo is near and dear to C Murder, as it's something he lives by. He also went as far to tattoo the label on his body, which showcases his loyalty to this group in a major way. Before C Murder was locked up for murder, he was someone who was easily accessible in the streets. During the time he was still active in his rap career, 2 Chainz started to make a name for himself in the Atlanta area. 2 Chainz found himself in the midst of C Murder and the TRU members at a music festival in New Orleans in the early 2000s. According to TRU member Verse, 2 Chainz expressed the influence the group had on him as they're partly responsible for him pursuing his rap career. Verse also states that he got bad vibes from 2 Chainz as he constantly shared his interest in the TRU logo. Verse also states that 2 Chainz took the opportunity to steal the logo when C Murder got arrested and was sentenced to life in prison.
You know, he always been a fan of True, he always been a fan of C Murder, and you know, he was always inspired by his music and his realism in the streets. I never seen him with nothing true on, but I always did pay attention to the way he was looking on Google at it at the logo. Because our logo have a certain appeal to it. And I seen it in his eyes, bro. And it seemed like right after Corey went to jail on that last time that he got convicted, he looked at C Murder with that life situation as an early retirement, and he thought he could run with it.
Allegedly, 2 Chainz told Verse that his logo will be spelled exactly like the word true with the E at the end, but he will eventually change it to TRU, despite knowing that there is a collective that already has that spelling. It's when 2 Chainz decided to take the E off of his logo is what made members of TRU upset. This then led to C Murder dissing 2 Chainz behind bars as he felt disrespected by his actions. The main thing I like about C Murder's diss track to 2 Chainz is that his disses are blatant. There are no subliminals as he says his name and insults him to a high degree. The insults that C Murder says on this track are very disrespectful, which highlights the fact that he's serious about his disposition towards 2 Chainz. He feels like 2 Chainz is disrespecting him by taking his TRU logo, and he's going to disrespect him in every way possible. C Murder starts this track off with a bang, which involves him calling 2 Chainz the P word and how he'll be somebody's girlfriend if he was locked up in prison.
2 Chainz ass, you in a boot ass nigga, you'll be a hoe, you was in a pen, nigga.
C Murder then goes on and states how he'd easily beat up and shoot 2 Chainz as he's someone who's not about that gangster lifestyle. This also reflects the title of this track as C Murder states that he will shoot 2 Chainz and leave 2 stains on his shirt, which refers to the blood that will pour out of his body after C Murder shoots him.
I'll pop you in the chest and make 2 stains.
You can definitely sense C Murder's frustration with 2 Chainz. He truly feels that 2 Chainz disrespected him, especially if it's true that he was around C Murder, and showcased admiration for the logo, only for him to steal it when C Murder was locked up in prison. Although I like the sinister elements of C Murder's delivery and lyrics, you can sense that the quality of this track is low due to the sound of his vocals. There are also moments during C Murder's verse where background noises are evident, which sounds like a jail door closing.
Put your ass asleep, I done peeped at your dog, I done hollered for your boy.
This definitely adds a realness feel to the track, as it highlights the fact C Murder recorded this track behind bars. Although I'll acknowledge this doesn't take away from the fact that this song sounds low in quality, but it honestly isn't too bad, as it doesn't sound like C Murder is rapping over the phone. It sounds like he recorded this track in somewhat of a professional studio. Another element to this track is the verse from the artist's verse. I honestly feel like his verse wasn't needed, as he didn't add anything new to this track. All he did was reiterate on what C Murder was already saying, without any wow factor.
You ain't by that jailhouse, 3-4 hours you locked up, bitch you trying to bail out, bitch I saw you running.
All in all, this is a decent diss track. I can definitely understand where C Murder's coming from, and I feel like he had every right to express himself, especially if the story is true of 2 Chainz hanging around him and his crew. Being that he possibly knew C Murder and the TRU family while blatantly taking their moniker and not knowing it would be an issue is definitely startling. I still think that they may have an issue with him, as they didn't come out and squash the beef publicly. 2 Chainz did the smart thing and ignored all of the negative things said towards him, and he probably doesn't even look at it as beef. I guess time will tell to see how this truly ends. But for now, there isn't any real static between the camps from what I know.
2 Chainz, boy, you a ass nigga, old fake ass nigga tryna be a true.
For those of you that don't know, LaChat is a legendary female rapper from Memphis, Tennessee that ushered in a lot of memorable hit songs in the early 2000s. Her affiliation with DJ Paul and Juicy J's record label Hypnotized Minds was also a big contributor to this as well. Before she gained great success in her rap career, she was influenced by the negative effects of the street life of Memphis, Tennessee, which led to her going through various hardships. This molded her rough and bold rap style, which is highly intriguing. The southern drawl of her voice is another noticeable factor about her style that makes it captivating. In the year 2000, LaChat linked up with Project Pat in order to create a song called Chicken Head. The idea of this track came from Project Pat, which involved a man and a woman roasting each other about their ratchet lifestyles. While in the studio, Project Pat approached LaChat and told her to roast him as hard as she can, and he's going to do the same. When LaChat agreed to this, it led to them creating a very memorable track that would go on to become a certified classic. LaChat and Project Pat's chemistry is impeccable, and DJ Paul and Juicy J's production is extremely catchy. There are a multitude of sounds and samples that are memorable, with the perfect example being when LaChat repeats the phrase "boy please whatever" throughout the track.
Chicken, chicken, chicken head, chicken, chicken, chicken.
In the year 2018, rising female rapper Cardi B released her reiteration of the song Chicken Head called Bickin' Head. She replaced the C with a B because of her affiliation with the Blood Gang. This song also involves original sounds and samples from the previous track, with a major one being Cardi B reciting LaChat's popular phrase, "boy please whatever."
Shorty, show me where it's at. You play with me, I might pop up where you at. You make believe.
Cardi B's notoriety and success during this time couldn't go unnoticed, as this track also appeared on her highly successful album, Invasion of Privacy. LaChat took issue with Cardi B, as she felt as though she didn't get the appreciation for her contribution to the original track. Not only did Cardi B use the same instrumental and phrases from LaChat, she didn't even bother to shout LaChat out, as she's the inspiration to Cardi B's song. LaChat went on record to say that she didn't have an issue with Cardi B doing the song. Her issue was that Cardi B didn't shout her out.
Hey, I didn't ask for it. I didn't ask for somebody to come out saying my words, that boy please whatever, you know.
Yeah.
They're my words, you know,
Yeah.
they're actually words, and I just had to let them know. And you don't, I just feel like if you gonna at least do anything, that's to anybody. If you go use my vocals in your song, if you go use some of my words or whatever, hey, you don't got to give me on it. Salute to you, and I'm honored that you even like it, but at least, you know, shout me out, or at least be like, yeah, you know, shout out my girl LaChat. Don't just act like you created or act like this just came from out of nowhere, because that's my masterpiece. I say it right now. Boy, please, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
It's noted that Cardi B thanked everyone for the song, except for LaChat, which she had every right to feel a type of way. Also around this time, a rap challenge hit the scene that involved rappers rapping over the classic instrumental from 3 6 Mafia called Who Run It. It started with the rapper G Herbo and led to many other new school acts joining in on the hype. This then led to fans of Hypnotized Minds and Memphis rap in general calling on the OGs to partake in the challenge as well. This led to rappers like DJ Paul and Juicy J creating their versions of the challenge. LaChat was another name people were bringing up in order for her to partake in the challenge. LaChat accepted the challenge and made it her opportunity to vent out her frustrations with Cardi B not shouting her out. LaChat went on record to state that her issues with Cardi B gave her motivation to partake in the challenge, which led to her presenting her captivating style that fans grew to love back in the early 2000s. I like the fact that LaChat has a ton of energy on this track. She comes out the gate addressing the issue she has with Cardi B and women like her in the rap game. LaChat doesn't like the fact that women like Cardi B don't pay proper homage to the female MCs before them. She talks about how she felt slighted by not being mentioned alongside the other artists that were involved in making the song Chicken Head. LaChat's aggressive delivery brings out her ferocious lyrics towards Cardi B a great deal. There is also a moment on this track that involves LaChat doing incredible flow switches as she mimics the rhymes and mannerisms from 3 6 Mafia members that originally appeared on the Who Run It track.
It's a bitch, you bitches love to hate. Always really never fake. Heard that it's the chat, you trifling bitches trying to.
I also like how LaChat addresses the people who wanted her to do the Who Run It challenge at the beginning of this track. She states that they know she has the ability to kill any track she hops on, and this song is no different. There are also more noticeable disses towards Cardi B on this track, as LaChat brings up the fact that Cardi B doesn't write her raps. She also believes that Cardi B sold her soul to the industry, which is a way of saying that she doesn't have a mind of her own.
You hoes ain't really writing for this shit, you sell your soul, girl, please, whatever. Yeah.
Although I'll admit that LeChat's lyrics and flow switches are great on this song, I don't like her delivery on this track overall. In my opinion, it sounds like she's struggling to get her lyrics out, and it also sounds like she's out of breath at certain moments. With that being said, I like LeChat's disses towards Cardi B, but not her overall performance. I also must say that this is nowhere near the best Who Run It challenge out of the many artists that participated, but this is by no means me saying that this song is bad, as it's most certainly not. LeChat did a great job getting her point across. I also believe that LeChat had every right to be upset with Cardi B, as she was a big part of the Chicken Head song. But there could be a reason for Cardi B not acknowledging her, as she probably didn't know who LeChat was. But I find this hard to believe, because LeChat was a big part of the original song, and even if Cardi B didn't know her, I would assume that she had questions about the female rapper on the song, as LeChat had a ton of quotables. This is another beef that was resolved simply because the target didn't participate. It simply died down, as LeChat just wanted to get her point across, which I think she did in a great way with her version of the Who Run It challenge.
I been boss, I been stamped, I ain't never had me no writer. Can't tell that bitch that beat my shit to chat, bitch.